The world was burning. For 6 long years, cities had turned to dust, families had vanished, and silence had replaced laughter. It was the year 1945, and humanity stood on the edge of darkness. The end of the Second World War was near, but it did not come easily. Part 1. The Final Winter of War. The winter of 1945 was cold, colder than memory itself. In Europe, the Allies, Britain, America, and their partners, were closing in from the west. From the east, the mighty Red Army of the Soviet Union marched relentlessly toward Berlin. Germany, once confident and unstoppable, was collapsing under the weight of its own war. In the cities, people hid in basements as bombs rained down from the sky. Each night, sirens screamed. Each morning, streets lay covered in ash. Children searched for food, mothers whispered prayers, and soldiers, young, scared, exhausted, waited for orders they no longer believed in. But even as destruction spread, one question echoed everywhere. When will it end? Part 2. The Fall of the Third Reich. By April 1945, the walls of Berlin trembled. Soviet tanks roared through the streets. Inside a bunker beneath the city, Adolf Hitler, the man who had started the war, faced the collapse of his empire. He refused to surrender, but his soldiers were already laying down their weapons. The world's attention turned to Berlin. Every building became a battlefield, every street a grave. Yet amid the chaos, rumors spread. Hitler was dead. He had chosen to end his life rather than face justice. And with that act, the nightmare began to fade. On May 8, 1945, Germany officially surrendered. In London, Paris, and New York, church bells rang. People filled the streets, waving flags, crying, dancing. They called it VE Day, victory in Europe. But victory did not mean joy for everyone. For millions, it came too late. The war had taken fathers, mothers, brothers, entire cities. The world was free, but broken. Part 3. The Pacific War and the Unthinkable. Yet the war was not over everywhere. Across the world in the Pacific, Japan continued to fight. American troops battled island by island, Okinawa, Iwo Jima, paying a terrible price. The Japanese army refused to surrender. They believed it was more honorable to die than to yield. Then came a moment that changed history forever. On August 6, 1945, an American bomber dropped an atomic bomb on the city of Hiroshima. In seconds, the city vanished. Tens of thousands died instantly. 3 days later, another bomb fell on Nagasaki. For the first time, humankind had unleashed the power of the atom, a power capable of ending the world itself. The horror was too much to bear. On August 15, 1945, Japan finally surrendered. The Second World War, the deadliest conflict in human history, was over. Part 4. Silence and the Birth of Peace. When the guns fell silent, the world did not cheer, it listened. To the cries of survivors, to the stories of those who had suffered in camps, prisons, and ruins, to the whisper of a single promise, never again. From the ashes, nations began to rebuild. In Germany and Japan, cities rose from rubble. Old enemies became partners in peace. The United Nations was born, created to protect the fragile hope that war would never return. But peace is not a gift. It is a choice. It must be guarded, nourished, and remembered. For even now, the lessons of 1945 still echo through time. That hate destroys, that power without mercy leads only to ruin, and that, even in the darkest night, humanity can find its way back to the light. Part 5. The Legacy. Today we remember the end of World War II not as a moment of triumph, but as a moment of reflection. Over 60 million lives were lost. Soldiers, civilians, children. Behind every statistic was a heartbeat, a dream, a story that ended too soon. And yet from those ashes, the world learned something eternal. That peace is fragile, that freedom is sacred, and that love, not fear, must guide the future. Soft music swells, hopeful tone. So when you look at an old photo from that time, a ruined city, a soldier returning home, a child holding a flag, remember this: The end of war is not the end of struggle. It is the beginning of healing. And as long as we remember the cost of that war, we honor the promise born from it. A promise whispered in 1945 and still alive today.